What is going on, everybody? Mike Strauss, Mike MMA, back with another interview. This time, Mr. Robert Meese. He is Cody Garbrandt's uncle and boxing coach. He has spent time with Team Alpha Male. He's worked with a number of high-level dudes. He's opening up a new gym in Ohio. But before we get to that conversation, you guys know you can find my work at bjpenn.com, Low Kick MMA, Cage Side Press. Of course, the YouTube channel, Mike Strauss, Mike MMA. All right, now back to my conversation with Robert Meese. Enjoy. I want to welcome to the show for the first time Mr. Robert Meese. He is Cody Garbrandt's boxing instructor. He spent time at Team Alpha Male, and he's one of the very best guys in the game. What's going on, man?
Oh, just getting ready to open up a new gym in Massillon and trying to train fighters and keep my feet on the ground.
No, I hear you, man. That's all we could do, man. Keep busy and take the next best step. So you're opening up a new gym there, huh?
Yeah, it's in a nice area for a gym. You know, it's going to accommodate good wrestling, good stand-up, some Muay Thai. It's called Ground Zero, and the reason why they choose the name Ground Zero is because it's been brought up from the ground up by the local fighters that want to try to reach goals in their life and have a gym of their own to train at.
That's super cool, and that's, of course, going to be in Ohio, right?
Yes, Ohio. Massillon, Ohio.
Very cool. I saw that, of course, people know you spent time at Alpha Male. You trained, you helped train a bunch of their guys. Lance Palmer, he's an Ohio guy. I saw that you spent some time with him. Do you still work with Lance?
Yeah, so I still work with Lance. We get together. He left for New Jersey, working with Frankie Yeager and some of them guys up there. His manager and that. Got a lot of dealings with different gyms, so... You know, he goes and gets that good look, that New Jersey look.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Lance is a super cool guy, man. I mean, there's something about the Ohio guys, man. You guys are all really cool, laid-back guys. What are some other fighters that you get to work with on a daily basis? I've seen that Sage Northcutt, you worked with a little bit of him when you were out in Alpha Male.
Yes, Sage, I work with him. I off and on we get out there, but he's got his routine now. I think he's in Singapore doing some promotion for the new boxing promotion that he's fighting for. And then Uri, he's coming out of retirement, I believe. And then there's some local fighters around Ohio. I'm one of up-and-coming fighters I like to work with and see what I can do. And then, bringing that up, I mean, the big names are already there, but what takes pride in a trainer is the ones that you bring up from the ground up, and you bring them up all the way to... especially if they're really successful, that really makes you proud. I mean, it makes you proud working with those big-name people also, like Chad Mendez, TJ, Cody Garbrandt, so on forth, Elkins, and getting to work with some high-level striking coaches like Justin Buckles and all that, and feeding off one another, flowing with one another, and then if you have a program like that, it's success, so it's it just kind of makes you feel good. It's like you accomplish something, a goal in your life, it makes you feel good. And I think I know it's a harder route, but sometimes working with fighters from the ground up and bringing them where they need to be or where they can be, you got a big part of that. Nobody can take that away from.
Oh yeah, for sure. You're right, man. There's something to that. Taking a fighter in, when he's a novice and working with him and watching him progress. Yeah, there's something to say for them, and I imagine that is probably one of the more rewarding aspects of your job would be watching a fighter grow like that. That kind of ties into the name of your gym, Ground Zero. I mean, that's like just a perfect gym name. Balances, encompasses your ideology. And I think that's very cool, man. Getting away from fighting here for a second, are you an NFL guy? Are you a Browns fan?
No, I'm no Browns. I mean, I'm no Brown. I'm more a Green Bay. I've been a Green Bay fan from just the history of Lombardi and all that, and the ice tundra.
Ton of history up there, yeah.
Yeah, and they're owned by the city. You know what I mean? Lambeau Field. It's just a historic club, and I always liked the Green Bay. I don't know why. When I was a kid, I always rooted for Green Bay. When the cardiac kids and all that was coming alive with Cleveland.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
But it'd be nice to see Cleveland do good, though. I mean, I'm not going to hate on them. I'm not saying I'm their best fans, but I'm not going to hate on them. I mean, you guys don't like the team I like. It's obvious because they're rivals.
Yeah, right. I'm not the biggest Packers fan, but the Browns, man, they look like that they might have a pretty good team this year. So yeah, it's always good to see your hometown teams do good. But you're right, man. The Packers, they the reason why I don't like them is because they are so damn good. So there's nothing wrong with being a fan of them. Winning is a good thing, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, they had a bad year last year and stuff, and but that happens throughout the year, and they just need to change up some things and be aggressive. I mean, what worked for them winning the Super Bowl when they beat the Steelers ain't going to work this year.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, just like competing and fighting, you get away with some stuff that will take you there, and you just don't follow through, and it's the same principle.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is, man. That's a good point. You brought TJ up. I'd be remiss, man, if I didn't get your thoughts on this whole EPO thing. I mean, Cody was saying this years ago, and people, for whatever reason, just kind of dismissed that statement. But, hey, man, Cody was telling the truth all along, man. It's kind of, I imagine it's kind of cool to see all this happening. Not cool because, another man is suffering from it, but it's cool to see that your nephew is kind of vindicated. He was telling the truth.
Yeah. Well, with the TJ thing, this is how it is. The hype is so much because he beat Cody, and because Cody dismantled Cruz the way in the fashion he did. And then the hype was everybody forgot about, TJ, how he looked and how he recuperated from a punch, and stuff like that. People were so much in a hype and they didn't care about the other stuff, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And a fighter. But, TJ's a cheater and he got busted. And then the funny thing about it was me and Buckles was in New York when that happened. Justin Buckles, and then Buckles told me, he goes, man, I don't know his strength and training coach. I don't know who he is, but I think he did with Lance Armstrong. I think he coached him. If I might be mistaken. I'm not 100% sure, but Justin had the up and up on him, and so did a lot of other people like Uriah and people like that. Always brought up in little meetings that TJ's such a sore loser and a cheat on stuff that he does, but I just didn't get too much involved in it. But I just remember Buckles saying that he knows how to not to get it protected from it and stuff. It was just kind of interesting because you know what I mean. I never really thought about it that some of the stuff that TJ was involved in, but just by hearing the people that knew him and hung around him for a bit, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, it's crazy, man, because, guys like you, guys like Cody, guys like Buckholz, guys that don't cheat, guys that don't use PEDs, we really don't have an idea of what kind of goes on because we don't surround ourselves with those kind of people. So, we're really kind of ignorant to it. So when we see something like this happen, it is kind of like, wow, this is nuts. And then when you got guys like, like your nephew that were pointing this out years ago, it just kind of makes you scratch your head. Like, what, if they're not testing for EPO, what are they doing, right?
Yes, and then it just came out. I mean, it must have been heavy duty because, TJ got 2 years of suspension.
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't think Jones got that. You know what I mean? And then, and also Mayweather, he put it on the first Pacquiao fight. He said he just wants even ground. He just wants to be on even ground with everybody, and he did that. I think it's the Olympic drug testing they do now. I think Mayweather kind of brought it into attention and brought it aboard to the sports more, to be more fair, more honest, give everybody a chance, and a level playing ground. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it started with Mayweather in that Pacquiao fight.
Yeah, no, I do remember. I remember what you're talking about there. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy world we live in for sure, as combat sports. Before I let you go, man, Lomachenko, he just fought. What do you think of him, man? Does he have the best footwork in the game?
Man, yes. That boy knows angles, and I don't know why people hate on him, because to me, he had the less fight and fight for titles and fight world champions at that weight division. He knows how to half step. He knows how to feint. He knows how to step off the angles. You know what I mean? And I think he's off the chart. I think people should give him credit. I mean, why can he not be recognized as one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world? Well, as he fights more and gets better and improves and adjusts himself and adjusts his body to the weight class that he moved up in, we might be looking at one of the greatest fighters of all time just by observing him. And you see it. I mean, you see his qualities, and whoever watches him say this is different. And then some of the people that denies the fact, I mean, there must be something wrong with them. I must be jealousy or something, because I see totally stuff different. I mean, everybody has a mistake and is not perfect at all times, but he's pretty near close to being a perfect defensive fighter that sets up offense with his movement and his angles. How much better can you ask for than a fighter than that? I mean, I wish I had all my fighters on that program that he's on.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's tremendous. I mean, I was just on a different podcast, Dirty Brawlers, that we do, and one of the guys said that you could basically have someone who's never watched boxing before watch one of his fights, and they'll be able to tell you that this guy's special. He truly is, man. I mean, he's changing the game. He's doing what no one else is doing, and I think you're right. I think you're right, Robert. I think he as he grows, I think he does have a chance to be one of the all-time greats, man.
Yeah, he does. And it's funny to say that, but that's how Cody was taught. You know what I mean? He was taught in angles, change angles, to be a multiple fighter, not just one-dimensional, but showing different looks. And his half step and all that, and then we had the formula. I'm just hoping that we can get that back with Cody, and then Cody get back on top, and maybe he'll be the Lomachenko of MMA.
I think he can. Yeah, I think he definitely can. Now that you bring that up, Robert, Cody does have a lot of similarities with his footwork and his angle work that Lomachenko has. Now that you bring that up, man, they're very similar.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm probably going to piss people off saying this, but this is how I feel. And why have an interview with somebody if they don't truly feel or try to hide how they feel and look at things? You know what I mean? Why not be honest with people and honest with yourself? I really feel that Justin Buckles was meant for Cody, just as Kevin Rooney was meant for Mike Tyson. Because when I got with Cody on this fight, and then I was working with Cody, I was like, oh, man, we're snapping really good on the punches, half stepping, moving. And it was like, it just worked together good. And then Buckles always left Cody training, moving his feet up, moving in the cones, and we accommodated each other, and plus having the Team Alpha Male was on fire that year. Team Alpha Male, with the ground games and with their ground game and their expertise of fighters and Uriah and all that, everybody put things together and worked together, and we made it happen. So, and then I hear all these podcasts trying to break down Cody. Hey, man, it's simple. What Cody's doing is he's planting his feet, his head's up in the air, and he's winging punches, and he's trying to exchange with people. And he's missing because his chest is squared off. I mean, it's something simple to fix and correct that we had it corrected. I know Cody had faults. You think, I trained him since he was a kid. You don't think I know he had faults? But he moved so well with his feet. He moved so well with his movement and angles, you couldn't catch Cody. You couldn't catch him because he was stepping off, splitting the guy, changing levels, hitting it from another angle, setting other things up. And he could do that because his feet was in perfect position to get off. That's how he was taught. He was taught to let his defense set up his offense. And he just kind of varied from that, you know what I mean, a little bit. And then it's just that it's in him, and he just got to get it back, And then we got to work on things also mentally for him now. I mean, after 3 losses, if he decides to still have me to train him or whatever, we got to put those 3 losses, and then we got to turn it around and put in his mind, hey, this could be the Cinderella story of the MMA world and the UFC and come back on top. But she's got the ability to do it, but you just got to have the right people in his corner to get him to do it.
Yeah, no, you're right about everything. I agree with everything you said there, and a couple of things too, man. Not to make excuses, but if you look at Cody's record, his losses were all to guys who have been popped for performance-enhancing drugs. So that is something to definitely consider. Plus, his boxing, he might have the very best hands in all of 135 pounds. I really believe that, and you're a big part of that.
Yeah, we spent time with, well, first of all, this is why I work so good with Lance and a lot of wrestlers. My stand-up is like wrestling, standing up. It's something we formulated in my career when I was fighting and trained by Chris Furry. It was like the angles, the changing levels, the dips, the feints. And then what we did with Cody, because he was such a good wrestler, we did a style that fit into his wrestling on the stand-up. We did the number system, the combinations, and we directed him towards that. And when he fought Cruz, you saw that. He knew how to split him. He was in a perfect angle to take Cruz down, to reverse it on Cruz. Cody had all that. And it's a shame because Cody still has it inside of him to do that. You just got to have the right people to pull it out of him on the stand-up and to become successful. But the thing of it is, sometimes in the fighting game, it's the mental aspect also that we got to bring along up with the skill level.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, right, is in the mental game. But, yeah, man, this was fun. I appreciate you doing this. We should definitely do this more often. Before I let you go, I wanted to point out, too, though, we just saw this, last weekend, Dustin Poirier, who realized a dream, beat Max Holloway for the interim lightweight title. And I say that because, if early on in Dustin's career, the knocks on him were that he would brawl too much. He would kind of get, wild and kind of brawl and rely too much on that. Well, he's totally erased all those now. Dustin's really changed the way he fights. And I say that because, Cody is still a relatively young fighter, so he has a lot of time to change his game around. And if he can get back to the old Cody, there's not many guys that, you mentioned the Cruz fight. That Cody Garbrandt is pretty much unbeatable, that guy that showed up that night. So if he can get back to that, everybody's in good shape, right?
Oh, man, you know what? That's good insight that you got. Yes, it is. That's what I mean. I kind of had Ludwig. I kind of let Ludwig get under my skin because he kind of called me out on stuff. I told his coach his problem. That kind of made me mad. Ludwig, I was like, I know Cody had problems. Faults, but I knew that he moved so well he couldn't capitalize on them. But who's Ludwig telling me how to correct my fighter when your fighter, you had your judo or your studio open for 7 years and never developed a champion from the ground up. You never developed a champion to fight in the UFC and stuff. And it just kind of made me mad. You know what I mean? That which I know Cody, and I feel Cody is a better fighter than TJ, and I know he is. It's just, I think it's something mental that we got to get him back where he's comfortable at and relaxed at and in a positive state. But for another coach to call me out on Cody's stand-up and what I can correct and do far more than what you can do. I can go to his studio and teach people how to do things right, but you do wrong. First of all, why does TJ get hit with the lead right hand? Okay, figure that out. Second of all, look at Henry did to him with the rear-legged kick in the right hand to TJ. So you don't know how to correct fighters, and that's the problem. You get some of these big-name coaches think they know they're the best, and they're not the best of training somebody in stand-up. First of all, you should have corrected TJ from getting hit with the lead right hand, and you don't even know it because you don't see it because you got your head so far up TJ's ass that you can't focus on what's right and what's wrong, which he's been exposed by Cody by getting hit by the right how many times, and Henry just capitalized on it and defeated TJ. So I kind of got off the subject on it, but it just kind of burnt me that he kind of did that to me on social media a little bit, and when I know Cody had habits, but you couldn't. It was hard to catch Cody of the habits because the way he moved and the way he changed up and fought in angles.
Yeah, yeah, no, I hear you, man. It's all good. No coach like that, man. No respectable professional coach should be going after another guy, another one of his peers. So yeah, man. I think you were absolutely in the right there, man. Vent, voice your opinion because your opinion is just as valid as his or anybody else's. So, very cool shit, man. Well, I truly appreciate this, Robert. This was fun. We should touch base more often,
Well,
man.
hey, you know why it was fun? Because you're just as knowledgeable about stuff as I am. That's what makes it fun. You hit things right on the head, just like on some things I hit on the head on this topic. I really appreciate it.